866-5555. Jacksonville. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the captain DJ. Yes! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
Filling in for Rick Ballou for the next 3 nights. Welcome into another edition of Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you, Dylan Denmark, alongside me in the studio. Thank you so much for giving us a couple moments of your time to speak a little bit of round ball in the 904. We'll also be getting into the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll have JP Shadrick joining us to talk about Travis Hunter, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars team as they had rookie minicamp over the last couple of days. And as always, we love your interaction here on the program. 641-1010 is the number on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or you can hit us up on one of our digital studios, whether that is Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. So want to start out with the Jaguars here because as people, right, I always feel that we're under pressure. Pressure of being a good parent, pressure of being a good employee, a great boss, etc. But for me, what I love as a person is when we have someone that can take a bit of that pressure off of us, right? Whether that's your partner coming home at the end of the day, helping you take care of the kids after you've had a long day yourself. Or maybe you're that coworker that's able to assist you in a big project. I mean, heck, Giannis Antetokounmpo, according to reports per Shams Charania, is looking for help in terms of another star, as if Damian Lillard wasn't enough. But the next team he goes to, if he is to be traded this summer, he's looking for someone that can carry the weight alongside him when he's trying to lead a team to an NBA championship. Travis Hunter for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel, is going to be the biggest relief for Trevor Lawrence since he got into the league. And that's just in my opinion. Now, from what he's able to do on the field as a talent, I think is going to be huge for Liam Cohen as well as Trevor Lawrence. I mean, heck, we heard this from James Gladstone during Travis Hunter's introductory press conference on what he and the Jaguars feel Travis Hunter is going to be for the game of football, which they perceive is going to be what Shohei Ohtani is for the game of baseball. Here's the GM.
We're not going to ask him to be any more than him, because by doing so, he elevates not only this football team, not only this city, but the sport itself, right? Along the way, right, you can count however many drafts you want to. There are players who have the capacity to alter a game. There are players who have the capacity to alter the trajectory of a team. There are very few players who have the capacity to alter the trajectory of the sport itself. Travis, while he has a lot to still earn, in our eyes, has the potential to do just that. And so it's an exciting step for us to take, and obviously a lot of work to be done, because while Travis's dream is now reality, he's still dreaming in a different way than most do. He prepares in a different way than most do. But now it's time to bring it to life.
You don't think that's pressure? Now, when it comes to Trevor Lawrence, right? I'm not saying that he came into the league or that we were told he's going to change football as we know it. But we were told that he's going to be amongst the long lineage of great quarterbacks. Manning, Marino, Unitas, Breves, Elway. And I'm not saying that he can't get there. I feel like there's still time. It's early in his career. But this season for Lawrence is going to be huge for him. He has to show that he's worth the deal he got. Some feel that he's earned it. And then you have another half of Jacksonville and the national media at large that probably say we would have waited another year. And either argument, to me, is absolutely fine. But I've heard here on the Superstation, I've heard from the national media that Trevor needed weapons. I also heard when it came to the NFL draft this season, the Jaguars needed to make a splash. And early on, they've now killed two birds with one stone. And I'm not just talking about Travis Hunter's play on both sides of the field. I feel that you made a splash in getting the best player in the entire draft, and you also get a weapon for Trevor. And on top of that, you get a guy who is now going to take pressure off of your franchise QB in terms of him being that vocal guy. Now Trevor Lawrence can focus on showing it on the field. I'm not saying that he isn't a vocal guy, but he is not the larger-than-life personality that maybe a few of you out there would have liked for him to be. I feel like he's more of a guy that wants to lead by example. Travis Hunter is going to be a guy that I feel is not only going to lead by example, but he's also going to lead vocally. And so if we're of the mind that the new regime is going to be here for a long time, build a team that's going to win Jacksonville a couple of Super Bowls, then you have now said that with the start of this draft and the start of our new process and the start of this new journey in which we're taking together, Travis Hunter is going to be the 1A when it comes to the face of the franchise. And it seems to me that already Travis Hunter is looking to take that on with some sort of pride and some sort of passion. This is Travis Hunter. He was speaking about being a leader to the rookies during this minicamp process, but I also feel that he's going to be a leader even to some of those veterans once we get into camp and in the regular season.
Yeah, I definitely embrace being a leader in the room. You know, I try to do everything right so they can follow behind me and do the same as me.
Now, as I said, I don't think Travis Hunter is not under pressure himself. You traded up to get him. And for many of you, you're probably saying we're going to be expecting the same thing we saw from Brian Thomas Jr., at least on the offensive side of the ball, year one. Fair or unfair? Because you have a guy in Travis Hunter who's being looked at as the Ohtani of his sport and damn near the savior of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because I believe that there's probably some of us that are hanging out on Beach Boulevard, you're in Orange Park, maybe St. Johns County, San Marco. And maybe a few of you are saying he's already replaced Trevor Lawrence as the face of your franchise. Yet again, that seems to be something Travis Hunter is fine with. This is one more from Travis Hunter. He was at the rookie minicamp on Saturday and basically saying, listen, I understand that the organization is expecting a lot out of me.
You know, the organization expected a lot out of me. You know, expect me to come out here and play right away, so I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to get out there and play right away.
So this is a big year for the Teal and Black. For Liam Cohen, for James Gladstone, for Tony Baselli, for Trevor Lawrence. You bring Travis Hunter in. This is Charles Davis. This was interesting to me. Now, this time last season, I remember Pete Prisco coming on the Frank Frangie show and saying that he felt the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to make the Super Bowl. Safe to say he was just a little bit off there. But I believe there are those that say, hey, with how the AFC South looks as of right now, the Texans taking a step back, this is a winnable division. And Charles Davis is already believing with the moves that Jacksonville has made with coach, GM, the players they got in free agency, and Travis Hunter, this team should be right back in the playoffs, even with the season they had last year?
Yeah, I think so. For me, this is probably the most controversial one that I put on my list because they haven't given us great evidence of it, have they, Kyle, in recent years? But for the last couple of years, we thought this team had a chance to make the jump. Now under new management, Liam Cohen, the new head coach, as Tiffany talked about, he is an offensive first guy, and he elevates offenses everywhere he goes. Doesn't matter if it's in college at Kentucky. Last year, what he did with Tampa Bay was extraordinary. And the biggest thing he has to do, of course, is get their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, playing up to his number 1 overall draft pick potential. If he gets him going in that direction, and it has to happen this year, I believe it's the 5th year of the contract, it's got to happen right now. And he has weapons outside. Brian Thomas Jr. is out there. And they drafted some kid named Travis Hunter. And folks, he's going to play receiver first, maybe sprinkling some defense later, but offense is going to lead them. They bolstered the offensive line, Kyle, with Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCary coming over from Baltimore. This is going to help them in a big way. I just have a hunch that this new energy, this going at it on offense, getting Etienne going out of the backfield again, they've got a shot. This is much more of a hunch and a hope than it is hard evidence, but I'm really big on Liam Cohen.
Now, unlike us commoners that hang out on Hogan Road, maybe 103rd, maybe the north side. Yes, on 103rd. Dylan.
Okay.
On 103rd.
You said 103rd. I just want to make sure you knew how to say that right.
On 103rd. Okay? Want to make this a local program. I love the people of Jacksonville. We understand that having help from someone where we can be great at what we do and the other person can be great at what they do and maybe take some of the pressure off of the things we've been asked to say or to do, whether that be at work or whether that's you having a partner. I think Jacksonville, by making this move, they said, you know what? We found it. We found that in Travis Hunter, who now we're going to see more than Trevor Lawrence in a lot of commercials. Hacker said it in the previous show. You're going to put on your Jaguars gear. You're going to go to parts unknown. You're going to go to Orlando. You're going to go to Tampa. You're going to go to Miami. You're going to go to Atlanta, go to Savannah. They see that logo, the first name they're going to say is Travis Hunter. That's the draw now. Not saying Trevor Lawrence still isn't, but Travis has now taken that. And I think he's going to handle it well. And in turn, that's going to help Trevor Lawrence. But you heard also the fans all rookie minicamp. Travis Hunter couldn't even do a post-game interview without individuals cheering for him. But at the end of the day, he has to produce. I think he will. Because I think not only does he want to have a great career, but I do believe he wants the Jaguars to be a great team. Any team he would have been on, he would have wanted them to be great. I think he holds himself to that standard. But he's here in Jacksonville. He wants this team to be a winner. And I believe that speaks to the fans. I believe that also speaks to the organization. So it's a home run move on both sides. We just now have to see it once we get to the regular season. My thoughts, I would love to hear your 641-1010 is the number on our text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. When we come back, I mean, what has life been like in the building with this youth movement coming into town? Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, now Travis Hunter. We'll continue Jaguars talk next with JP Shadrick right here on 1010XL.
Wherever you go, there we are.
I know. I checked online.
1010XL is on your smartphone and tablet. Download our free app for all devices and take us with you around Duval and around the world.
Join us at Miller Electric May 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. We're on the lookout for talented people, from entry-level to experienced electricians and foremen, security system installation and service technicians, fire alarm system service technicians, and both senior and junior VDV technicians. This is your chance to get hired on the spot. Meet the managers, indulge in delicious food, and snag some awesome giveaways. Don't miss out on this electrifying chance to power up your career. Miller Electric, May 29th, 4 to 7 p.m., 6805 South Point Parkway.
Hey there, Jacksonville. With scorching temperatures just around the corner, it's crucial to ensure your AC is blowing nice and cool. Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to keep you comfortable all summer long. But don't wait until the heat gets here. Our service techs are ready right now to handle any cooling issues you may have at your home or business. Call Duck Duck AC today at 904-862-6769 to schedule. That's 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Online at duckduckac.com.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation. Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050. or jimersonfirm.com.
Something big is coming, and 1010XL is about to reveal it. Join 1010XL all day Thursday for the big reveal. Delivered by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, and Renewal by Anderson, Custom Windows and Doors.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and my knee was getting worse, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. In summertime, it really can stretch out most of the year because we love the warm temperatures here in the Sunshine State. Greg, give them an idea of what Honda has to offer.
They are all over the board. They've got Honda scooters, Honda motorcycles, we've got Honda boats, we've got Honda side-by-sides. So whatever you like, we've got it.
That means adventure is waiting.
That's right. And we're ready for you.
In the showroom, you can find all that Honda has to offer on Atlantic near Regency, or check out Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Eye & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
46-35, your score. 8:13 left in the first half between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. New York currently leading that series 2-1. We'll talk about the series, also the NBA draft fix. Lottery in a couple of moments. But our next guest is a guy that when it comes to the Jaguars, you're You're going to hear him everywhere. Jaguars Happy Hour, Jags AM, Jaguars Today, and now you're hearing him on Open Gym. He is JP Shadrick, the Jaguars senior reporter, so gracious to give us a couple moments of his time. Mr. Shadrick, thank you so much, man. How are you?
RJ, it's great to be with you, man. I'm excited for you. It's great to be on your program, man. What's up?
Absolutely, and thanks again for giving us a couple moments of your time. So just for you, a guy who's been a seasoned reporter for the Jacksonville Jaguars for a long time, I mean, just take us inside the building, because we've never seen Jacksonville go the route of the youth movement. Now you're bringing in young minds, fresh ideas, a regime that is now bringing in a guy such as Travis Hunter that has this larger-than-life personality, almost kind of like what Shaquille O'Neal was when he came into the league for the Orlando Magic. So for guys like you, Loggeman, Sexton, and others, I mean, does the building feel different in a positive way since bringing in this new cast of characters?
Yeah, there's a youthful energy. I'll say that. I mean, there's, the last few regimes around here have been a little bit older, a little bit more experienced in the league, maybe, have been around it for a long time and might have been set in their own certain ways.
Right.
This is a younger kind of way, and that's cool. And that seems like it's, to relate to the younger type of NFL player, that's probably a decent way to go about it, right? It makes sense. I think it also, you don't want to underestimate what Baselli brings to the organization. A guy who was here in the 90s, he knows the Jaguars up and down.
Right.
He's a little bit of that, older head now, right? So he has a little bit of awareness about everything around the organization about him. So he's a great ally to have for Cohen and Gladstone. Just to bounce ideas off of, and hey, does this make sense or not? Or that seems like a really good fit. And why not? Like, take a bold step, go a little younger, and then make a bold play like they did on draft night. Just kind of tells you the ideas of what they might have in mind moving ahead, because they're not scared to take a chance if they feel like that could be something that could benefit the organization, not just this year. I mean, this might benefit the organization for another 5-10 years to come if it works out, So you got to be able to make that bold step and make the play, and ownership has to be involved, and they are. And it's so far so good. Now, we've heard this in off seasons before, right? It's a matter of what happens in September. Like, let's see when it really hits the grass and real games start playing. But it's a totally different feel. I'll say that, from what we've had over the last 10 years or so.
Now, I was talking about this at the top of the program because you talked about making a splash, and Travis Hunter is certainly a splash. And I feel that Trevor Lawrence, I think he understands, and I believe that many in the building understand he's under a lot of pressure this season to be able to produce. And so is Liam Cohen in a way. But you bring in a guy such as Travis Hunter, who I feel is the ultimate I can take the pressure off you guy, because he thrives under pressure, in my opinion. And I do believe that he also wants to win as badly as Trevor Lawrence does. And he talks about ad nauseum when we hear him in interviews wanting to bring a winning product to Jacksonville. So what does a guy like Travis Hunter do for an individual such as Trevor Lawrence in terms of relieving pressure on him?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it in this way too. I mean, it's a totally new offense. Like, everything is going to be new. Every concept they think about, the way they talk about concepts will be just different than what we've seen. So we haven't seen the product of that on the field yet.
Right.
We might not really in the off season too much. But I think there are possibilities with him that you may not have with some other players. And just the way he runs routes, we saw a little glimpse of that in rookie minicamp. He stands out. There's a reason why. Okay, this guy's a top 5 pick for a reason, and why they moved up and got him.
Right.
He has the physical capabilities to move and catch the football and do things like that. But again, it's rookie minicamp. You're not going to see a whole lot out of that. But compared to some of the other guys that are out there, okay, he can do things differently. We know that.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. And you put him with Brian Thomas Jr., who we need the proofs in the pudding. He's been able to do some things in his rookie season that are pretty spectacular, and that's that's promising for the future ahead. You put in with some other guys on the offense, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, if Travis Hunter can step up and learn that offense and be that offensive weapon that you think he might be, you might can maneuver him in certain ways where it can be difficult to defend. Who are you really going to cover?
Right.
And if they can figure out the running game, you get a balance on top of that. They've invested that in the draft picks in the running game as well. Of course, all the running backs they already have, and the offensive line they've invested in, and free agency in the draft. I mean, that's where they are, I think, on offense, and that's where Trevor, I think, is going to have a little more versatility this year on the offensive side of the ball. The run game will be there. They feel like Brenton Strange is taking steps in the tight end game. You're going to have some receivers that can go out and play. Who are you going to cover there? I think that's where Travis Hunter comes in, because he has the ability to take a catch and go 20 more yards down the field.
Right.
And he has the ability to beat you over the top if he really needs to,
Right.
It feels like that's the case. So that's the positive part of the offensive side for Trevor. And, I mean, let's see. I mean, again, it's still very early. Everybody's going to put all these expectations on Travis Hunter, and rightly so. They should.
Yeah.
He's the number 2 overall pick. So let's go see him do it. I think he's got the ability and the mindset to just not worry about all the noise, because there's been noise all around him for the last 4 years, and it feels like at least he has the understanding of what that is. It might be a little louder now than even it was in college.
Right.
Him being the number 1, the 5-star recruit in Colorado and the Heisman Trophy winner and things, that's noise. It's everywhere all the time. It's a little different level here, and it just feels like the track record of him handling that is pretty strong. So let's see that move forward. But I think if he can just fit into this offense, find a couple roles, perform at those roles, what he needs to do. Doesn't have to put up 1,500 yards. Doesn't have to be a 2,000-yard receiver. Do your job. Do what you can to help the offense maneuver and score, and he'll be just fine, I think, on the offensive side, and that'll help Trevor Lawrence be the best he can be, and it's a big year for him too. So all the weapons he can have doing their parts, I think that's fantastic for the quarterback. And I would guess Trevor's not arguing about this draft pick at all. I think I'm gonna guess he loves having this kind of spectacular athlete on his side of the ball.
Speaking with Jaguars, senior reporter JP Shadrick here on Open Gym on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Just if you could just go a little bit deeper into Trevor Lawrence, because I do feel this is a critical year for him, because I'm sure you listen to the fans and you also look on social media to see what the fans are talking about when it comes to the franchise quarterback. And I feel like it's split down the middle. You have one half there that does believe that, he was deserving of the contract. This is going to be the guy that's going to bring us to a Super Bowl. And then you have another half that's saying, I could understand what they were saying about him when he came out of Clemson, but you know what? We're not seeing it now, and people want to put the bust tag on him. In your opinion, I mean, how critical of a year is this for one Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I mean, he's here for 5 more years?
Right.
I mean, he's here. So, that's what it is. The contract is what it is. I mean, however, it's another new offense for him. So, third offense, now in 5 years in the league, and it's a lot of change for a guy who didn't have much change in college and, didn't have any change in college. So, how does he handle another offense, another, vocabulary, everything that goes around that? It's too early for bust mode. I mean, that's not where we're at. I mean, I think you still got to give him a little bit of time here to sort out the personnel around him and the offense and everything with it. Clearly, the organization, thinks he's the guy for the long term. So that's set. And then with that set, you can set up everything around that in terms of the salary cap to make that work. And in the next 2 years, that number for the quarterback's going to just keep going up. So that's why You're starting to see changes coming off the salary cap, like Gabe Davis is off in the next 2 years. They're going to, burn some of the dead money off of that because Trevor's money goes up, and you got to figure out a way around that. So, but that's what it is. When you have a franchise quarterback with a big number, that's what every organization that has one of those guys has to do. And in terms of performance, there is an argument that he hasn't done enough to do all that yet. But the argument doesn't matter anymore because he's getting the money.
Yes.
Like he's got the contract. He's here. He's the guy. So if he doesn't figure out and doesn't perform well the next year or two, then okay, well then you refigure out what you're trying to do and readjust and change and go from there. But I think you still got to give him time. As painful and as questionable as some might think it could be, well, it's what it is. He's not going anywhere, and you've got to build the offense around him and his strengths and work out some of the kinks that maybe he has had in his first couple of years mechanically and footwork. I know Liam Cohen talked about his footwork and things they're working on already. So that, give this group time to work with this quarterback. And let's see if they have results. It feels like there's some positive momentum in that direction. I mean, it's early, in the offseason. They haven't a lot of time with him on the field, but give him a shot. Don't light him off yet. They haven't even lined up for a snap yet.
Absolutely. And, we speak about Travis Hunter. We also speak about Trevor Lawrence, but you have been speaking or alluding to that of Liam Cohen. I mean, it's going to be a new offense, but it does seem to me that a guy such as Liam Cohen is really going to try to make this as simple as possible, not only for Trevor Lawrence, but the entire team as a whole, to put them in the best positions to succeed. I mean, we heard him in his introductory press conference. We're going to build the whole thing around Trevor Lawrence because we do believe that Trevor Lawrence is the guy we know that he can be. But does it feel early on that, Liam Cohen is really going to do all he can to make Trevor Lawrence the best quarterback that he can be and ultimately lead us to a couple Super Bowls here in Jacksonville?
Well, I mean, I don't know about the Super Bowls, right? I mean, that's whatever. You win and you get in the tournament and you figure out and you make a run and you get to the Super Bowls. I mean, you can't promise that. That's everybody's ultimate goal, certainly. Right. But considering the people they've put around him, and again, we've said this before in previous regimes with Peterson and the offensive coordinators and things they've had around, and Mike McCoy, the quarterback coach, and all that they've had in the past here. We've heard this before, but it feels like it's just a different kind of approach, with a group that's seen it in different areas. And let's see what Udinski brings from his time in Minnesota. Let's see what Liam Cohen brings from his time in both L.A. and even in Kentucky and certainly in Tampa Bay, and what they had to do in Tampa Bay with the offense. And let's see what Trevor Lawrence brings to the equation too. He's not going to be shut out of the conversations of what they want to do. So having that group together and how they work together, and they're kind of on a more similar mindset, maybe, but considering the age range and things that they've seen in football, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. So let's see it in on paper. Sure, it could work. Let's get them in the lab and work it out. That's what they're doing right now, and then get them on the field, and let's see if Trevor can be comfortable in what they're trying to present to him.
Final couple of moments with JP Shadrick here on Open Gym. We've spoken about the rookie class, and when I say the rookie class, I mean we've spoken a lot about Travis Hunter, on various shows here on 1010XL. But aside from Travis Hunter, is there anybody on the rookie class that you feel can make an immediate impact on this team once we get to the regular season?
I mean, it feels to me the offensive line is still going to be a place where I don't think there's a whole lot of secure jobs, right? Okay. So Wyatt Milam has a shot, in my opinion, to go out there and perform and have an opportunity. Yeah, they got two veteran offensive linemen in free agency, the center and the right guard. You got the left guard under contract. But, boy, if Wyatt Milam is out there and playing and performing in camp and preseason games, there's no reason why, if it's not this year, the next year or two, he could have an opportunity to really be a starter for this team, considering his track record, what he did in college, and his mentality of how he likes to play. I think that fits right in with what they would want to have on the offensive line. I think that's one of them. And the secondary is in a state of flux right now with a lot of change. And, Ransaw is that guy that can go in and be a physical player. But, moving back to safety, does his skill set make sense there? Seems like it, Okay, well, let's give it a shot. And same idea with him. Played a lot of football in college and has a long history of tape of him playing in a physical manner. And so that's something that I think has been lacking on the back end. Right. So those are two guys. I mean, those are the third-round picks. That makes a lot of sense to me. But then you walk out there in rookie minicamp, and you see Bayshul Tootin walking around, and then all of a sudden he starts running around, and it's like, oh, okay, this is a different level of athletes and speed that they haven't really had a whole lot of. I think they got a lot faster in the draft class this year on the offensive side with certainly Travis Hunter. Boy, Bayshul Tootin in that 4.3, that's not just a 40-yard dash 4.3. And that's a football fast guy. Right. And he's a big physical guy. He's listed at 5'11". I think he measured at the combine at 5'9", right? Okay. That's fine. But he's got the build to be able to play physical style brand of football if he needs to. And he's got the speed to burn you. And I think he's got an opportunity too to really step in and at least in the short term be kind of a package type player. But in the long term, hey, maybe he turns into a guy that you can rely on more than just one down.
Absolutely. Final one before we let you go, JP. And once again, thank you so much for giving us a couple moments of your time. How excited are you for the schedule to come out?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you play who you play, right? It's fine. It's exciting because you get to figure out the rest of your year, the schedule. Now, what am I doing on Sunday in November? Well, I'll find out on Wednesday, I guess. What time's the game, who they're playing, where they are, what they're doing. How can I schedule around that? Personally, that's the way I kind of look at it. Right. But I think that's kind of the way the whole league looks at it. Hey, what are we doing on Christmas? Oh yeah, well I've got family. Are we going to have a Christmas game? Probably not. We're going to have a game around Christmas. Where is it? Home road? How do I get home? Kids, the whole thing. There's some of that involved. When's the bye week? That's a big one, right? Is there a Thursday night game? That means a mini bye week the weekend after. Where is it? Home and road. So all that comes into play. So am I excited? That might be a little strong. Okay. But I'm very, very curious always when this day comes along to figure out what the rest of the year holds on the calendar.
Absolutely. We are all on the edge of our seats as well to see what we'll be doing with our Sundays as the Jacksonville Jaguars season will be beginning here soon, and it'll start with the schedule that'll come out on Wednesday. He is JP Shadrick, the Jacksonville Jaguars senior reporter, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. JP, thank you so much again for doing this with me, sir, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
RJ, anytime, brother. Appreciate you.
There he goes, JP Shadrick, Jacksonville Jaguars senior reporter. Going to be a big year for one Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be a big year for Liam Cohen. Also going to be a big year for Travis Hunter, but seems like he thrives on the pressure, and I believe that's going to do a lot for one Trevor Lawrence. Also Liam Cohen as well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We heard a lot from the national media when it comes to the best wide receiver in the draft was that of Travis Hunter. Also the best corner in the draft was that of Travis Hunter. So a unicorn on both sides of the ball. And as we spoke about at the top, James Gladstone believes this will be the Shohei Ohtani of the game of football. When we come back, would a duo of Giannis and Victor Wembanyama scream championship next season? I don't know. But let's talk about it with John Gonzalez of CBS Sports right here on Open Gym.
Take your shot at the PGA Championship with 1010XL's You Pick'em contest.
All right, boys, let's go do this.
Win $1,000 of jewelry from Beards Diamonds.
Whoa.
Opened up by Pella Windows and Doors. Enter at 1010XL.com.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. If they're paying their salespeople commission, you're starting off in the hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
Yo, E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Let the excitement of the game take you away.
Florida's back on top of the college basketball world championship madness.
Your home for play-by-play is 1010XL.
It's a great day to be a Gator.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament, hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jackshumane.org.
Military veterans have always protected us, and in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Yo, E.T. here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and nonstop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your pool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Final moments in the first half between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks as Jaylen Brown misses from the wing. The score is 62-51 in favor of the Boston Celtics. And let's talk about the series as well as the game with our next guest. He's a host and NBA analyst for CBS Sports, a great basketball mind as well. He's John Gonzalez. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at John Gonzalez, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. John, sir, how are you?
What's going on, RJ?
Doing well, and thanks again for giving us a couple moments of your time. So we all know who has the number one overall pick, and we presume the selection is going to be that of Cooper Flagg. But what do you expect Dallas, if they are to make the pick and draft Cooper Flagg, what are they going to be getting from Cooper Flagg at the next level? Is this a generational talent, a guy that's going to be a multiple-time All-Star? What do you believe he can be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not really your college basketball guy. I'm your pro guy, so I'll tell you what I think that it means for the Dallas Mavericks. It means potential job security for Nico Harrison. I mean, like, this is a guy who trades Luka Doncic, and they have pitchforks and torches out for him in Dallas. I mean, the entire city, the entire fan base was freaking out about it. You just had the former mayor of Dallas write an editorial in the Dallas Morning News torching Nico Harrison, and along comes the NBA, and this is going to, light conspiracy theorists on fire, that a 1.8% chance of getting the first pick. Guess what? They got it.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, you have Kyrie Irving with the ACL injury. Now you're waiting for him to come back instead of just maybe you were going to make some more moves. Maybe Anthony Davis would put his hand up and say he wants out.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it buys you some time. So it's a boon for the Mavs. Everybody talks about Cooper Flagg being a fantastic player. I'm sure he will be, but from the Mavs perspective, to land the number one pick is just huge.
As a Los Angeles Lakers fan, I can't begin to tell you I came into the studio saying the fix is in, just like they did with Anthony Davis and the New Orleans Pelicans. But when we talk about this series here that's now gone into halftime between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, I mean, it's been a surprising series because I believe the Knicks have been a team that just says never say die. But I do want to focus on the attention of Jason Tatum, because I believe that if he wants to be looked at as the new face of the league, like his idol Kobe Bryant or maybe Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's going to have to be big in moments where I felt he dropped the ball in game one and game two, where you're up 20 points, you lose the lead, and he just didn't take the reins and say, give me the ball, I'm going to take us home. It's a close game right now after one half of play. Am I kind of being unfair of the observation that if he wants to be looked at as the face of the league, he being Jason Tatum, he has to be able to come up big in big moments?
I think you're close to it, yeah. I mean, he talked about it after game three. He said he's aware of the criticism and that he believes that some of it is correct and fair, that he does need to be bigger in big games. It's not so much, though, that he didn't want the ball, as that he was taking shots that were ill-advised, especially in game one, where towards the end of the fourth quarter, he had a chance to get to the rim when his shot wasn't falling. He hasn't shot well through the first three games of the series. Now tonight, through the first half of game four, he's shooting the ball well. But earlier, when his shot wasn't falling, the Celtics are sort of all guilty of this because of the way they play. They all want to shoot as many threes as possible. But in the fourth quarter of game one, he had a chance to drive the hoop, and he decided not to. He settled for a step-back 25-footer.
Right.
He's a guy who can beat you in so many different ways, and I think he just has to be smarter and more aggressive on those in those situations, on those nights when the shot isn't falling, remembering that, oh, yeah, I'm going to be first-team All-NBA again. I'm going to finish fourth in the MVP voting. I can take anybody and break anybody down when I need to, and that's one of those situations where he needed to.
He's an NBA host as well as analyst for CBS Sports. John Gonzalez joining us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Is the series between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers over, in your opinion?
Sure looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, I think that some people weren't quite aware, if you're a casual NBA fan and you weren't super tuned into this, about how good the Pacers are. The Cavs, for sure, the injury issues with Darius Garland having a toe and not being available to start the series, and then Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter getting hurt. Now you've got Donovan Mitchell with an ankle, and he's questionable for Game 5. All that's baked in. None of that is good for the Cavs. The Pacers are good, though.
Right.
This isn't just that the Cavs have been injured and not playing well. It's that the Pacers, since January 1, only 3 teams in the NBA finished the regular season with a better record than the Pacers: Oklahoma City, Boston Celtics, and the Cavs, that they're just cooking right now. And then they came into this Game 4, and they were ready to play that game. I mean, all of them. It wasn't just 1 or 2 guys who had a big game where you would normally expect, okay, you're going to have a blowout, who had a big game. No, they had 10 guys in double figures.
Yes.
And afterwards, Kenny Atkinson, who's the coach of the year, was despondent. He was talking about how the Pacers were ready. They just physically dominated the game. Their energy was raised. Their level was raised. And the Cavs were caught off guard. So, I mean, look, maybe the Cavs win Game 5, make it a series, climb back into this thing. But right now, the Pacers are giving them everything they can handle.
Now, a couple more for you before I let you go. Just want to go around the league. And as a Lakers fan, Bill Simmons kind of gives a comment almost to say he knows something that we don't, and that's Austin Reeves will be traded this summer, in his opinion. Now, Rob Pelinka, in his exit interview, said that LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves, that's the core in which he wants to build around. However, LA does need help with getting a lob threat, also getting a guy who can rebound, block shots, and rim run. You may need 2 of those guys this offseason. They're also going to need 3-and-D help, in my opinion, on the wing. So do you see Reeves being a tradable asset this summer for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Well, I think when you move Anthony Davis and you somehow land Luka Doncic in that world, anything's possible.
Right.
At present, those 3 guys are their main 3 guys. But who knows what happens and who becomes available. I mean, this morning, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who previously we weren't sure if he was going to stick his hand up. Now, all of a sudden, there were reports that he might be open to another situation. So much can change, right? So I think your point about them needing some rim protection, any rim protection, anybody who could play center is absolutely correct. And Luka traditionally likes a lot there. Well, they don't have any. I mean, you saw what happened towards the end of the regular season and in the playoffs. They had to go small. They played a ton of LeBron at center. They played a ton of Dorian Finney-Smith, and they had to have Jared Vanderbilt out there, and Jackson Hayes. They just absolutely could not play the guy. I like him fine as a backup big, but you saw that basically they've already decided he can't be your starter. So I think everything's on the table for them.
Now, speaking of Giannis, I mean, you hear that now he is open to being moved and playing somewhere else. You hear teams like the Brooklyn Nets. You also hear teams like the San Antonio Spurs, even the Houston Rockets as squads that could be interested. What would make the most sense to you in terms of a landing spot for one Giannis if it's not in Milwaukee? Because to me, if you put him in San Antonio with Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, I think we're seeing the San Antonio Spurs in the mix out west next year.
Yeah, that would be a great landing spot. I mean, some of it is how much of this can Giannis influence, because he's got 2 years left on his contract and then the player option after that. So how much influence will he have in steering where he wants to go? But those 2 Texas teams, I think, are right at the top of everybody's list of, hey, this would probably work both ways. If we're talking about the Spurs, they have the Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle. They've got Devin Vassell. Now they've got the number 2 pick in this draft. They've got some other draft capital. If you dangle a bunch of that in front of the Bucks might bite. And then all of a sudden, you've got Giannis. And if Wemby can recover from the blood clot along with De'Aaron Fox, yes, they're absolutely in the mix in the Western Conference. You got some shooting issues, some spacing issues, but you certainly would love their defense and their rim protection. And then same with Houston. Houston needs shooting. I don't know that. Obviously, Giannis doesn't solve that problem, but if you have a chance to get Giannis and it costs you, I don't know, spitballing here, Jalen Green, Tari Eason, maybe a Jabari Smith, some draft capital, figure out the shooting later, right? And then all of a sudden you're off to the races in the Western Conference on a team that already finished second in the West this year behind a dominant OKC team in the regular season. That Giannis would absolutely put them in the mix. So there's some really interesting teams that could get involved. What happens, RJ, if Oklahoma City doesn't get out of the second round again for the second straight year, and they've got that draft capital and all those young players? What if they put their hand up and go, you know what? we're going to get in the mix in here. So, yeah, it's going to be a really interesting offseason.
That was the thing that scared me most because I have been having nightmares about OKC saying that's the guy we're going to give up all our first-round draft picks for. They would become a real scary team in the Western Conference, as we are talking with John Gonzalez of CBS Sports right here on Open Gym. You talked about the Houston Rockets and whether or not they may be in the mix to trading for one Giannis Antetokounmpo. You've also heard about Kevin Durant maybe being a viable piece in which they're interested in trading for. A report comes out that the Houston Rockets still have a lot of faith in Jalen Green, but parts of me also say that the Houston Rockets could push all their chips into the middle of the table and go out star hunting. If you were in the front office, I mean, kind of what's the better course? Is it staying with the young group that finished second in the Western Conference, or are we going big game hunting and pushing all our chips in the middle of the table trying to win a championship next year?
Yeah, if it's Kevin Durant, I mean, Kevin Durant's an incredible player. He is, but he's 30. He's going to be 37 years old, and I don't know that he fits on a timeline with the Rockets. It would be tempting.
Right.
Certainly, if you are the Suns, that's a great trade partner for you because they control a ton of your draft, and now all of a sudden you can get some of your own draft picks back. That helps with a potential tank moving forward. You figure out what you're going to do with Devin Booker. That doesn't sound like a route that the Suns would be inclined to do because they've said previously that they don't want Matt Ishbia, the owner, doesn't want to tank. He wants to build around Devin Booker. We'll see whether or not that actually holds true. If I'm Houston, it's a possibility, but I think in that scenario, if it's not Giannis, who's considerably younger at 30 years old, I think I'm probably team let it bake with Houston because those young guys that they have, Alperen Şengün and Jalen Green and Amen Thompson, who's incredible, and Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore and Reed Shepherd, they're all 23 or younger. I mean, you're just now scratching the surface on what this team could become. Without any playoff experience, without any real being tested, they finished second in the Western Conference, lost a really tough series to a playoff battle-tested Golden State Warriors team. I think in that scenario, if it's KD and not Giannis, it's going to be tough. But I'd probably just sit on it and let it go for another year at least.
Now, we're close to second half action in New York between the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Boston currently enjoying a 62-51 lead. Just what were your thoughts on the first half, and what are you interested in seeing out of both teams as we get closer to second half action here in Game 4?
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about Jason Tatum. I mean, he hasn't shot the ball well through the first 3 games, shooting the ball really well tonight. Had a really good first half. So you want to see if that can continue. Jaylen Brown still not shooting well, but he's in the mix. And then can the Celtics hold the lead? They didn't in games 1 and 2, cost up 20-point leads. They did in game 3. And then can they hold on the road? It's interesting, too, because if the Celtics do hold their lead, then that means that the home team will not have won a game through the first 4, which is highly unusual. And then from the Knicks' perspective, it's all about can they keep it close? Because if they do, they're going to have a chance in the fourth quarter. They have Mr. Clutch Player of the Year in Jalen Brunson, and then they'll have a chance to go up 3-1. And if they go up 3-1, man, now all of a sudden you're up 3-1. Only 13 teams in NBA history have come back from down 3-1 to recover and move on. So the Knicks would be in the driver's seat. It would be a disaster for the defending champion Boston Celtics. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting second half in New York.
All right, John, before we let you go, thank you again so much for a couple moments of your time. Let us here in Jacksonville know how we can get a hold of you and your great work that you do with CBS.
Yeah, so we're on YouTube, live shows all the time at Beyond the Arc, CBS on YouTube. You can catch us on CBS Network. We'll be live on CBS Network tomorrow talking about the lottery and tonight's playoff action at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then you can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast, Beyond the Arc.
He is an NBA host and analyst for CBS Sports, and it was great having a conversation with one John Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, thanks so much again for giving us a couple moments, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
My pleasure, my man. This is fun. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. There he goes, John Gonzalez of CBS Sports. Second half action to begin shortly between the Boston Celtics as well as the New York Knicks. You'll also have the nightcap between the Golden State Warriors as well as the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we have already had the fix 2 hours ago between the Dallas Mavericks, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Philadelphia 76ers. The NBA saying, hey, listen, Nico Harrison, we're going to do you a solid. When it comes to Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, we're going to give you Giannis. with the Philadelphia 76ers, we're going to give you a top 3 player in this year's NBA draft. And the rest of the teams, we don't care about you as much. The fix was in the whole time. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Grow your hair back. IHRS offers the latest technology in hair transplants and restorative treatments.
Fast, easy, and effective.
With over 35 years' experience, our team is committed to delivering exceptional results. Hair restoration is for us, and it can be for you too.
See how IHRS technology can grow your hair back. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS, 777-4477 for $250 off.
Sports sounds better on radio.
I love it. I love it.
You get the most live sports on 1010XL.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Is an injury keeping you on the sidelines? Whether it's your shoulder, neck, back, knee, wrist, or ankle, don't let pain hold you back any longer. At Injury Care Centers, they offer the same high-tech treatments trusted by the pros to supercharge your recovery without surgery. The road to recovery starts the moment you pick up the phone. 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Injury care starts at Injury Care Centers.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coil Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security. Those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes. Nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coil. You can trust the folks at Coil. 904-356-4821 or visit CoilJacks.com. COYLE Jacks.com.
Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach, you just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals.
You need it, we've got it, come see us.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
What an NBA night it has been between these playoff series, which we've had an exciting second round. I want to say a surprising second round of playoff action for many teams. The only series that I'm not able to figure out as of yet has been that of the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. As much as we want to say and talk about the fact that Jokic may be a little bit fatigued, the ball bounces Denver's way, especially late in that fourth quarter. This could easily be a 3-1 series in favor of Denver. I don't think that OKC has, quote unquote, figured anything out yet when it comes to the Denver Nuggets and how that series is going right now. But I do believe this is going to be a series that's going to go 6 or 7 games. And I do believe whoever wins game 5 may be the team that's in the driver's seat. Not saying because you're up 3-2 in the series, but I do believe that the team who is up 3-2 in that series is probably going to say, whatever we did to be successful in game 5, we now need to do this again in game 6. So that's going to be an interesting one. But, I didn't expect the Indiana Pacers really to do what they're doing right now to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a very deep team that Indiana has. And for a guy who wanted Miles Turner to maybe make his way west to Los Angeles, I can kiss that goodbye. But the biggest story in the NBA is that of the Dallas Mavericks. Talk about Nico Harrison, right? Really getting done a solid here. The Dallas Mavericks getting done a solid. But it reminds me a lot of what happened with New Orleans when they traded Anthony Davis to the Los Angeles Lakers. What happened that summer? Ended up getting the number 1 overall selection in the NBA draft. So I'm not trying to say as a Lakers fan here, guys, that, the fix was in because of us. I'm just saying that the fix was in because of us.
They're not like us.
They're not like us. All right? They are not like us. But does this now put Dallas, if Cooper Flagg is to be the selection, does this now put Dallas in the mix in the Western Conference? Because a lot of individuals, when the trade was initially made, and we heard Nico Harrison many times say defense wins championships, defense wins championships, defense wins championships. Well, for me, let me straight up tell you that window is very, very small with the current iteration that you have in the Dallas Mavericks, Cooper Flagg or not. You have a guy in Kyrie Irving who you're going to assume that this ACL injury, it's going to take 2 years. It's going to be 1 year, him rehabbing. The next year, I think it's going to be him really just wanting to trust that leg again and say, listen, I'm going to make a move on the floor and I'm not going to get injured. Now, this is the same leg he injured when he was at Duke. So maybe he says, listen, we're just going to do the rehab and we'll get back out on the floor and we'll be able to contribute for our team. And then on the other side of that, you have a guy like Anthony Davis. Can Anthony Davis give you 65 games next year? He had his fair share of injuries, both with the Lakers, and then he immediately gets to Dallas, and he was having the game of his life, and it only lasted 1 half before he had the core injury. You also have Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson, this isn't a young Klay, right? This isn't a young man anymore. Still can shoot, still can do a lot of things on the floor, but being that two-way guy that he was when he was in Golden State, I think that ship has sailed. That's done. What's your next move with Daniel Gafford? Daniel Gafford wants to be a guy that wants to be paid starting center type money. So are you going to trade him? Where are you going to trade him? What are you going to get back for a guy such as Daniel Gafford? Because I'm going to assume that you're going to re-sign Derek Lively, extend him to a large deal. I also believe you're going to give some sort of extension to that of Anthony Davis. But if I do have any Dallas Maverick fans out there, is all now forgiven because you have the number 1 overall pick and because you're going to get Cooper Flagg? Now, I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of college basketball. Does this guy scream generational talent? Are we treating him like, let's say we treated Zion Williamson when he was coming out of Duke, and we were saying, we've now found the guy that's going to replace LeBron James. Once LeBron James retires, the league's in good hands because we have now found our face for the next 20 years. Is that Cooper Flagg? Is Cooper Flagg now going to be the missing piece that Dallas needs? He's now also that offensive juggernaut that the Mavericks now have to get over the top, to not only just be better than the Lakers in the conference standings, but to defeat teams that we see in the Western Conference right now, teams such as Golden State, teams such as the Minnesota Timberwolves, teams such as the Denver Nuggets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Is that enough? Or do they still need just a little bit more, some shooting on the wings, a couple more 3-and-D type players? I mean, you have Max Christie, and I love him. I mean, I hate the fact that he's no longer a Los Angeles Laker, but that's a piece that you have there in Dallas. Do you now try to get another point guard, or do you believe that much in Spencer Dinwiddie? And you like what he does when he's a starting point guard or a guard coming off the bench for Dallas? But what also interests me is San Antonio getting the number 2 pick. Now, what are they going to do with that? Are you going to select one of the 2 top guys from Rutgers? Or is this a trade where you're saying, listen, we're going to give you player X, Y, and Z plus the number 2 pick. We're trading that to Milwaukee, and we're getting Giannis. Now you have a 3-man group and De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, assuming that ailment that he had, San Antonio or any doctors in which he decides to go to are able to rectify that problem, and he's able to now be a guy that is able to be healthy once again, and we're going to continue seeing the growth and development of one Victor Wembanyama. And now you add in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I'm not sitting here to say that's going to be Duncan and Robinson like we saw in the 90s and in the 2000s. Although a young team, that's a very scary one. I would like to assume that maybe the Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle, would have to be in that trade, but wouldn't you do it if you're the San Antonio Spurs, who I feel probably, with Greg Popovich being now one of the leading voices in the front office, you're saying that, hey, listen, let's push all our chips in front of the table to become a championship team. You gave both of these Texas teams a great future, no matter which way they decide to go, in my opinion. But with the Dallas Mavericks, Nico Harrison, you, my friend, have gotten the biggest bailout of the century. It went from fire Nico to maybe it's Nico, we forgive you. And maybe some still won't. I mean, Luka Doncic is a 25, 26-year-old supernova. He still has some issues in terms of his weight. I feel that J.J. Redick sent a shout-out to Luka. But there are a lot of fans that said they'll no longer become Dallas Maverick fans. I have a friend in Texas who said, I'm no longer a Dallas Maverick fan after what they did with the Luka Doncic situation. Can Cooper Flagg turn things around? We'll see. He's the presumed number 1 pick in this year's NBA draft. When we come back, I do want to give you guys a special interview of sorts, a voice of my childhood, a voice of many of your childhoods if you are an NBA fan. We're going to be speaking with Joel Myers. I spoke with him earlier today because he did have a busy schedule as he is enjoying his offseason. But going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans, the future of one Zion Williamson, the future of the New Orleans Pelicans as a team as a whole. We also break down the NBA playoffs, and also what was that time like when he was a member of the Los Angeles Lakers and that broadcasting crew. Really was an interesting conversation and a very heartwarming conversation that I had with one Mr. Joel Myers. And you'll hear that next right here on Open Gym on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
You can find 1010XL on any social media platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. At 1010XL.
Oh, no.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. DuckDuckRooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call DuckDuckRooter, your local plumbing professionals, and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the duck.
904-862-6769.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court: the Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey, Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
On the dead homies.
Back here again on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It is the Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. Glad you guys are here with us talking a little round ball in the 904. And this interview means a lot to me. I always like calling these segments, such as these voices of my childhood. We've had John Ireland on the program before, and he essentially has been the voice of my entire childhood. But once we get into 5th grade and on, when the Lakers were on KCAL and on Fox Sports, respectively, the guy who voiced that segment of my life was none other than Joel Myers, who is now the play-by-play voice for your New Orleans Pelicans. And this is seriously a dream come true for me to be speaking with the guy who I've looked up to for a long time. So, Mr. Myers, sir, how are you?
Doing well. I'm glad you survived those games and listening to me all those years. And I didn't send you in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, you didn't send us in the wrong direction. I mean, we went to the finals 3 years in a row and, won back-to-back titles. And it's always amazing. I always remember you and Stu Lance interviewing Kobe. I think he was at the end of his contract going into that 2009 or 2010 year. And you ask him, so are you going to be back? And he says, listen, man, I can't leave L.A. I love this place. So that's definitely one of the images that always just holds so near and dear to my heart. You and Stu Lance interviewing Kobe after he won his 5th NBA title. But when we get into this year's NBA playoffs, I mean, we're in second round action, and I feel there's been plenty of surprises, because if you would have told me that after 4 games, the Indiana Pacers would be up 3-1 over a team that had the best record in the Eastern Conference this year, I don't think that I would have believed you whatsoever. And reports have now come out that Donovan Mitchell is considered a game time decision for Game 5, and I just believe that if he doesn't play in that contest, the Cavs are going fishing. So what have you seen from this series, and do you think Cleveland has the ability to get up and turn this series around in their favor?
Well, even if Donovan Mitchell does play, and I do believe he will play, at least I hope he plays, you want the best in the world on the floor.
Right.
I'm not surprised, even tomorrow night, if Indiana closes the series out. See, there are a couple of teams I think people discounted going into the playoffs. Minnesota, for one, over the Western Conference. And I like them going into the Lakers series. They could have swept the Lakers, but it took 5.
Right.
And then Indiana's a deep team. And it's all about matchups anyway. And Cleveland did not want to face Indiana. So Indiana was peaking at the right time at the end of the year. Did the Cavaliers peak a little bit too early? And then overall depth as you look at the two teams. And Indiana's, when you bring guys like Mathurin off the bench and Toppin,
right.
P.J. McConnell, I go down the list, that's a really deep team. You only need 8 or 9 for the playoffs, of course, because you're tightening your rotation. But Indiana's a really good team. That's a deep team. So I'm not surprised at all. And I liked Minnesota going into the matchup. Even if Steph is healthy, I like them going into the matchup with Golden State.
Absolutely. And speaking of continuing with the Warriors and the Timberwolves in that series, although it was a close Game 3 the other night between the two ball clubs, I feel as if this series has spoken to the greatness of Steph Curry and just how he changes the fabric for the Warriors when he's in the contest and he's suited up, but also how he changes the entire makeup of a series overall. And I loved what Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga were able to do in Game 3, both scoring 30 points apiece, but it just wasn't enough. So in your opinion, can the Warriors hold on long enough to keep this series going as Steph Curry tries to get back into the lineup?
Well, it'll take monumental games from other sources, put it that way, because Jimmy Butler is going to be fine. And you mentioned that Kuminga did a real good job for them. But overall, the deeper team going into the playoffs was Minnesota. Now, star-wise, the best 2 stars are on Golden State, and that's Steph and Jimmy Butler.
Right.
But the third star is Anthony Edwards. And then a lot of the guys after that are on the Timberwolves roster.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that Minnesota took care of the Lakers. Not surprised if they, even with Steph, as I said, would go through and win in 6 or 7 against the Golden State Warriors. And obviously, if Steph can't play, it could be a much shorter series.
Absolutely. Continue our conversation with your play-by-play voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, Mr. Joel Myers. So while this interview is taking place, Game 4 is going to be underway between the Knicks and the Celtics. And I got to tell you, Mr. Myers, when it comes to a team that has the title of never say die, it's certainly been the New York Knicks. However, Game 3 for the Boston Celtics, they were able to come out of the gate, snatch an early lead, and keep it. So do you think a Game 3, the one in which they had, could be enough for them to turn the whole series around and they walk out of this series going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, they swept them during the regular season for a reason. And both teams were healthy for the most part during the regular season. Brunson, I know, had that stretch where he was out of the lineup. Right. But no, the Boston Celtics are a better team overall. Now, they're a team that lives by the three. They average almost 53s a game during the regular season, attempts at least. So you live by the three, you die by the three. And they really played, and they're an ISO team to begin with, but they went really catatonic at the end of Game 1 and Game 2 in Boston, where they let them back into the game after they had big leads, and they just didn't play the right way. They're going to take threes, and most of the time they're going to make their threes. That's why they're in the position they're in. But Boston, to me, better team overall, and a little bit deeper because of what Pritchard's done off the bench and a couple of other guys for them.
Absolutely. Now, there's one series that we, of course, left for last, and it's just due to the fact that it's quite confusing for me in the sense of it's a great series, but I don't know if one team or the other has gotten the upper hand as of yet, and that's the Thunder and the Nuggets series. Although members of the media have been shining a light on Jokic and maybe there's potential fatigue there, the Nuggets, if they got a couple bounces their way, this could easily be a 3-1 series in their favor after yesterday. So with the series tied at 2 here, who do you think has more of an advantage going into Game 5?
Well, Oklahoma City, if you look at the first 8 or 9 on each team, Oklahoma City definitely has the advantage. There's no question about that. They're inexperienced, though. They're super young. They bring Caruso back because he played for the G League team there before he got his break with the Lakers and then going to Chicago. But overall, they're an inexperienced playoff team.
Right.
So now you've got a champion just a couple of years ago in the Denver Nuggets, and they're an experienced team. Now, they don't have the same components that they had, like Bruce Brown and Caldwell Pope, and we're going to list a couple of other guys that were on that roster. But Denver is getting nothing from their bench. If they get a little bit from their bench, it's the best of 3. They can win the series because of the experience factor and 2 players in particular. Murray won a title, and Jokic won a title.
Right.
So they're not overwhelmed by this experience and going into a hostile environment because Oklahoma City is the closest thing in the NBA that we have to a college crowd because they are that into it. They make that much noise, and it's great. It's healthy for them, but it's the only game in town. You know, Norm is a half hour away, but it's different. So when you go into Oklahoma City, that is a true home court advantage they have there.
Continuing our conversation with the play-by-play voice of your New Orleans Pelicans, Joel Myers, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. A couple of more, sir, before I let you go. You're the voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, and just a year ago, it seemed that the team was placing all their chips at the middle of the table, really trying to make a run out there in the West. Injuries occurred. You also traded some pieces such as Brandon Ingram. But for you, watching the team night in and night out, what do you think about the future of the New Orleans Pelicans as they try to right the ship here and get back in the mix out West?
Well, they're sound. They're good. And they weren't sound last year. They won 49 games 2 years ago, 21 last season.
Right.
So when they're healthy, they're a factor. What they need is more shooting. They got DeJounte. Unfortunately, he got hurt right at the All-Star break, and that's an Achilles, so it's a year plus, especially when you're 30 years of age. So they're in the offseason, besides more shooting, they need a lead guard, whether that's in the draft. And right now they're 4th going into the lottery tonight. And to see if they fall back. Maybe they get lucky and move up. Zion is going to be the representative for the team at the podium tonight. So I like what Joe Dumars has done already. Either you're all in or you're all out. And if Zion's there, he's all in. And he's obviously had multiple conversations and meetings with Joe Dumars, the new vice president for basketball ops. So I like what's going on in the background, put it that way. I'm sorry that we're losing David Griffin, and it was a bad break. But after 6 years of Zion, now it's somebody else's turn. And Joe Dumars has done it at the highest level. They won a title in Detroit. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals 6 consecutive seasons. So he knows how to build a roster, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
Speaking of Zion Williamson, I mean, for me, being just such a huge basketball fan, it's crazy for me to say that I still think Zion Williamson is only scratching the surface of who he can be in this league. When he's focused and he's healthy, he's an absolute force, not just for the Pelicans, but I do feel there's a lot of teams in the NBA saying, I don't know how many individuals that we have on our roster that can get in the way of this guy. So just how much better do you feel he can be, in your opinion, from what we've already seen from him in his career?
Well, he's going to add to his game. That hasn't really transpired. Now, he's added little things, but big things, the mid-range game, certain things that he can still do, and he can add during the offseason. So, in my estimation, you haven't seen the best. You've seen a guy that has not been healthy. He's only played 46% of his career games so far, but he really cares. He does care, believe it. You know, a lot of people that they don't have boots on the ground, they aren't around, they don't know, because my partner Antonio Daniels and I, we're at practice, we're at shoot-around. And fortunately, we are with the team all the time.
Right.
They give us that option, which is really healthy. So Zion now with more shooting on his side of the floor, and he was in the best shape of his career last year. He got 2 triple-doubles. And then he was shut down. He took a hard fall, but then he was shut down to protect the 4th lottery pick. So it's like Philly shut everybody down so they'd stay 5th because they can't afford to fall out of the top 6. If Philly, if 2 teams jump ahead, say of the Pels in 4 and Philly in 5, Philly loses their pick. It goes to Oklahoma City if it's not in the top 6. So certain teams had to shut players down. Zion was probably playing the most complete basketball of his young career when he was shut down. And he looked incredible shape-wise. He was really healthy.
Final couple of moments with the play-by-play voice of your New Orleans Pelicans, Joel Myers, joining us here on Open Gym. So just want to shift our attention to your time in Los Angeles with the Lakers. Spoke about it at the top. I mean, you called some iconic games for Los Angeles, whether it was the down years in which you were talking about or those back-to-back championship runs in which the Los Angeles Lakers had. I just want to know from you, just what was that like as a broadcaster during that time? Because we always talk about the players, and I'm sure it was a joy for you as a play-by-play guy watching the team grow from the down years, and they traded Shaq, and now it's Kobe, and Phil Jackson comes back, and they're trying to build this team back to where they knew they could make the team once again. So just take us behind the curtain, just your experience of what that was like for you being in Los Angeles and watching that team grow into champions once again.
Well, I was just happy for Kobe because he cared so much. He was so intense and so passionate because I had a great relationship with him. And we were on the charter, and he'd always tap me on the shoulder when we go back. In those days, we had a couch in the back of the charter.
Okay.
So Michael Thompson sat behind me last row. I sat second to last row on the aisle. And, you know, in the darkness of night, because the no to put on their lights, we were all, it's after a game, 3 cities, 4 nights.
Right.
Kobe tapped me because it was kind of a bitch and moan session. And I was just happy for him that it all changed. Don't forget. And they added nice components. But it all changed when Pau Gasol came over for the biggest expiring contract at that time from Memphis. Pau came over for Kwame Brown's $13 million contract. So once Pau got there, he bonded with Kobe. He realized he was with one of the greatest to ever play the game. And in my estimation, the second and the most elegant and graceful, because Michael Jordan to me is still on the top of the list.
Yeah.
And there's been great players, and I go way back. But Kobe, for my money, was second best. Could do anything and everything.
Right.
So I just cared about him. And as much as I wanted to see him win, he finally got those rings with Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, he got the 3 early, the 3-peat, and then he got 2 more with Pau. It was a great group to be around anyway. And Phil Jackson was fun to be around as well because he's a bright, challenging guy. Right. It's like when I was around Greg Popovich. There's never a dull moment.
Right.
It's just it's healthy to be around really bright, motivating people, and that's why I loved Kobe. He was always motivated. He always cared, and I still feel his loss.
Yeah, and that's really what I wanted to close out the conversation about. Just I heard a lot of people talk, and give their feelings on the passing of Kobe Bryant, and certainly, Laker fans and Los Angeles natives, still feel the pain of his loss. I mean, you called the 81-point game. He had that stretch where he was scoring 60 or more in a row. I mean, when I think about Kobe Bryant, really the first call that I always remember is the call that you made when he hit the game winner against the Sacramento Kings, and you said he's hard to believe. And sometimes watching him, on FS1 or on KCal, it really felt sometimes that he was hard to believe with the things that he could do. What were your thoughts?
By the way, he had a game. We pulled him after 3 quarters because he had outscored the Dallas Mavericks in that game.
Right.
He outscored them individually
right.
after 3 quarters. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but he was the best that I had seen on a daily basis by far.
Well, close us out, please, sir. Just, you're on the thoughts of, Kobe Bryant. What were your thoughts when you heard about his passing? And if you can, sir, I'd love, for us here in Jacksonville, if you have a Kobe Bryant story that you could share with us just to close out this great interview.
Well, you see, all of us that, were with the Lakers when Kobe was in his prime understood, because he would come to the gym. And when I say the gym, he'd come to the arena. Most guys get there 2.5 hours before tip.
Right.
Kobe would get there 2 hours before that. So he'd have a couple of the ball boys rebound. He'd work a lather up. So we're in Salt Lake City one night, and Michael Thompson and I got there early. So we get in our position, our broadcast position. Nobody's there in the building. It's a good 2.5 hours before tip. Kobe's wrapping up his session with his shooting and getting really ready for the game. And he looks over to Michael and he goes, $20 says I can make it from half court left-handed. Michael said, and Michael wasn't big on throwing $20 bills around.
Right.
And Michael says, you're on. Kobe goes to the half court line, swish. and then he looks at Michael and he goes, double or nothing? Michael goes, okay. And he goes back to the half court line, left-handed, swish.
Wow.
So he comes and we were like the second or third row behind the TV guys.
Right.
And I was doing radio with Michael. And he comes, takes the two $20 bills from Michael, and he runs down on the floor and he gives them to the 2 ball boys, one each.
Wow.
And then he looks back at us. He has this big grin on his face, and he runs into the locker room. So he was. You're not around greatness like that very often. I appreciated it.
That is Joel Myers. He is the play-by-play voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, but it is certainly always great to go back down memory lane with a guy who has been a voice of my childhood for such a long time. Again, this was a dream come true for me. Kobe Bryant has been missed by the LA community and basketball at large. We still think about him to this day, and when it comes to just great voices and the storytellers of the game, you'll find probably none greater than one Joel Myers. So, Mr. Myers, thank you so much again, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
Yeah, thanks for having me, RJ. I appreciate it.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
What are you even doing here? You're just doing this to get under my skin.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I'm glad you figured it out, and I'm getting under your skin.
They are The Drill.
In your dreams.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through May 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. I'm here with
Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated Five-Star Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Takes home the Wanamaker Trophy.
The defending champion says,
Hear updates and coverage of the PGA Championship. Driven by St. John's Middle School Athletic Association and TopDressing.com. Follow the leaders on 1010XL.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Leon Cersei here. Let's be real. I used to eat like a lineman because I was one. And man, those habits are hard to break. I needed help to stop with the munchies and lose weight. But now, I'm bringing sexy back. I call Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their medical team is helping me shed pounds safely with a custom plan to help me slim down. And their firm pricing means same price every month. Hey, you want to bring sexy back? Visit Physician Guided Weight Loss at pgweightloss.com.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Visit sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Where is the deepest canyon in the United States?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The deepest canyon in the United States is Hell's Canyon along the Oregon and Idaho border, about 8,000 feet deep at some point.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
So for a lot of this show, we've been talking about pressure relievers. We feel that Travis Hunter is certainly going to relieve a lot of pressure off of one Trevor Lawrence, who has a critical year ahead of him, at least in the minds of a lot of Jaguar fans, as well as the national media. Travis Hunter going to be able to relieve that pressure, in my opinion. You also look at a guy such as Nico Harrison, who has a major monkey off his back as, the pressure of now trying to build a championship contender maybe gets a little bit easier, at least for the foreseeable future, as the Dallas Mavericks win the the NBA draft lottery, getting the number 1 overall pick, who we assume is Cooper Flagg. And let me tell you something, a guy that needs to relieve himself of some pressure is one Jason Tatum, as the New York Knicks right now enjoying a 3-point lead with 9:17 left to go in regulation. Let's see if Jason Tatum, in close games, in close situations, if you look at the numbers, and we talked about this on Sunday on Open Gym, has not been the greatest in clutch situations in the postseason for the Boston Celtics. Not saying that he hasn't had game-winning shots, not saying that he hasn't had clutch shots in his career, but when it has mattered the most for the Boston Celtics in the postseason, he hasn't delivered. And if he wants to be a guy that's going to be looked at in the same instance as Michael Jordan, maybe Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or even that of his idol, Kobe Bryant, he's going to have to show up in big situations, and none bigger than right now as the Boston Celtics try to cut into this 3-point lead. Kristaps Porzingis at the line knocks down the first one, 94-92 is your score. Big news coming out of the NBA, however, because, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA on NBC will be making its triumphant return next season. And this song will be back. Move over, Kevin Hart. I don't want to hear this song in your commercial anymore. We now bring this to the table, back where it rightfully belongs. A prodigal son of music has come home. All right, the NBA on NBC. That's why we love it. Game analysts, Jamal Crawford, Reggie Miller. Going to have Carmelo Anthony as a studio analyst. Play-by-play, Mike Tirico and Noah Eagle. But how about this? Michael Jordan as a special contributor? Is Michael Jordan really going to be doing broadcasting? I was asked that by the 575 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Says it would get him to watch the NBA again. I'm trying to figure this out, though, Denmark. I mean, is he going to be a guy that's going to be there every week? I
doubt it.
Is he joining via Zoom? Is he going to be in the studio? That's something that's going to be an interesting situation to me. I never expected a guy like Michael Jordan to say he'll be a special contributor to the NBA on NBC. But I mean, heck, we've heard from Reggie Miller in his interview with All the Smoke, talking about, hey, being able to be back with NBC, which was an integral part of his life as well as his career, being able to be a part of this broadcast is going to be huge for him. But Michael Jordan, I wonder, does Michael Jordan even watch basketball like that?
I wonder how much NBC gave him a check. They said, okay, how much do you want to get paid?
Listen.
Open pocketbook.
Open pocketbook. When you talk the definition of all in, the NBA on NBC, I would have to think you got to bring Bob Costas back, at least to, just sit in studio. He was such a major part.
Man, he's almost 80.
He is. But, I mean, come on, man. Come on. Bob Costas, maybe Doug Collins. Tom Tolbert. I mean, I think he has a lot of time on his hands. I mean, Tom Tolbert was a guy that was a very important piece.
Bob Costas, 73. My bad.
Okay, you put more years on him, man. Come on now. Who else could we have? They got Doug Collins there, Michael Jordan. Now you're going to have Reggie Miller.
Get a future contract for LeBron like Brady did with Fox.
Future contract for LeBron. I wonder if LeBron wants to be on TV. Does he have the patience to do TV? That's going to be one very interesting question as well, at least in my opinion, when it comes to the NBA on NBC. I mean, this means a lot to me as well. I mean, I didn't grow up with the NBA on NBC. I mean, by the time, I'm able to remember the NBA on NBC, I think they had probably 2 more years left, because I believe their final broadcast was the Lakers championship in 2002 against the New Jersey Nets, and then they left, and that's when ABC really got a death grip on the rights to the NBA, ABC and ESPN, but you also had TNT. Now, this is also a thing in which I want to ask the listening audience. Are you going to be expecting the NBA on NBC to give you the same nostalgia vibes that it gave you in the 80s and the 90s? Are you expecting that, or are you going to be looking at this through a new lens, like Kevin Garnett said we should be looking at today's NBA player through a new lens? Listen, I remember NBA Showtime with Shaq on the cover, and it was the NBA on NBC. I remember Robert Horry's Big Shot and Marv Albert saying, "Horry for the win." I think a lot of you remember that were in the 90s, Bob Costas. He's supposed to be doing a basketball game. He's talking to O.J. Simpson on the highway. Go, Juice, go! But this is a new era, and they're trying to bring as many old school guys as they can. But we're now also going to have Peacock that's going to be handling a couple of games as well. So we'll definitely have some variety here.
It's going to suck if Jordan's only going to make his appearances, like, say, once a week, only on Peacock.
Jordan's going to make his appearances during the gambling segments. Is he going to be the new Barkley? Is he going to be the Barkley where he comes in and he guarantees his parlays? That too soon?
He seems like too serious to be, like, obviously, like, just be a studio like Barkley and Shaq. You have to have a little bit of personality. But Michael Jordan just seems too serious. Like, he seems like a guy, he sees what happens, says what he sees, and then that seems like kind of it. I might be wrong on that.
Right.
But it just feels like that.
Now I have the image of Kevin Hart swirling his little hips in my head. Thank you, Kara. Thank you. Girlfriend, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Hart. Yeah. Yeah. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Kevin Hart, every time I got to see that commercial. All the time. Can't stand it. But the NBA on NBC is back, man. I mean, listen, couldn't be more excited. Be hearing Round Ball Rock where it should be once again. I wonder if they give us the old score bug. You can't make these new score bugs. I need the old school score bug, right? I need that one. But that's going to do it for us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Dylan Denmark alongside me, RJ Saunders, in the studio. We will be here for the next 2 nights, filling in for Rick Ballou. Hacker takes the 6 to 8 slot. I'll be here from 8 to 10. We'll have a great show lined up for you tomorrow. We're going to get a little bit in depth to the Miami Heat and their off-season plans with Jason Jackson. We're also going to be speaking with Lee Ellis, formerly of the Starters on NBA TV, now doing an independent thing, but he's been covering this series here between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, so he's going to join us tomorrow. We'll also have Mark Ross, who will give us an in-depth look at the front office of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and also, I mean, does this team on paper make it back to the playoffs? That's certainly something that's going to be interesting for us to see. So, for Dylan Denmark, I'm RJ Saunders. God bless, and may all your shots hit nothing but the bottom of the net. We'll talk to you tomorrow.